Good morning. I'm Bill Bishop, and I'm hoping you're having a great day and you're going to have what I call a big idea week. And I'm hoping this, what I'm going to talk about here, is going to set you up for that. So many exciting things going on. So, first thing to tell you is that the live meeting, the next live meeting where we bring our community together of the Big Idea Future Network is next Monday. It's at 11 a.m. So, in this email you got, there's a link, the Zoom link to attend that if you want to come. That's really good to do because you can ask questions, you can learn from each other. Uh, we've been doing these meetings now for quite a long time, and everybody gets a lot out of them. So I'm going to talk to you about my new book. It's called The Forever Company. The subtitle is Future-Proof Your Business and Thrive no matter what happens. So that's my new book, and I'm going to send you the PDF and also an audio of the first chapter, so you can get a head start on the book. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about why we're in an era of hyperchange, and this is all caused by AI. And I'm going to show you a little chart that I made that shows you how quickly AI is accelerating. And I'll talk about some of the things that I've been doing with AI that have been really fun and creative. And maybe you get some ideas for yourself there. I'll also send you the link to a video about absolute zero, which kind of blew my mind, but I ultimately didn't find surprising. And it reinforces this idea that we're in the age of hyperchange. So I'm going to talk about that video as well. And I'm also really excited to tell you about Aisle 10, which is a community that we started. And you can join it for free, and I hope you do. And you can become a vendor and or an influencer on that network. And what that's going to do is going to help you get more referrals from other entrepreneurs. It's also going to help you earn passive income, which I always say is the holy grail of business. Like, everybody wants to earn passive income, but nobody's figured out how to do that. So I'm gonna show you how you can earn easily lots of passive income with Aisle 10. So you could actually register for that as well if you want to. Okay. And there's probably a few other things that I'm going to share with you as I go along. Okay. So bear with me here because I got a lot of, I think, pretty interesting stuff to share with you. So the first thing is my book. It's called The Forever Company. And that's the mock-up of the book. So I haven't finished it yet. But one of the things I always do when I'm writing a book is I have the idea, come up with a title, subtitle, and then I make a mock-up of the book. And this is a really good idea to do because it motivates you. It gets you excited. You can see this book in your head, maybe, but you can really see it if it's a visual like that. So that's the cover that I'm working with right now. So if you're thinking of writing a book, that'd be my first suggestion. That aside, let me just tell you a little bit about what this book's about. So as I was alluding to earlier, we really are entering a period I call it the era of hyperchange, which means that things are just going to be changing faster and faster and faster at a pace that we've never experienced before. Some futurists are saying that over the next 5 years, by 2030, we'll have experienced more change, driven mostly by technology, than we experienced over the last 100 years. So think of all the things that happened in the last 100 years. Okay. So now that's all going to happen in 5 years. Okay. And then the year after that, maybe everything that happened in the last 100 years in 1 year. I mean, literally, that's what we're going to have to get used to doing, which is exciting, right? But it's also pretty hard to handle as a human being because we're not really used to that. But we have to figure out how to get our business aligned with that. See, most businesses are not set up to manage that kind of pace of change, right? Like, we make a plan, we got this product or this service, and we're going to make it or manufacture it in this way, and then we're going to deliver it in this way over the next bunch of years, right? Like that's what we have a business plan, right? Like that we're going to do. And that whole way of thinking is obsolete in a world where everything's changing so quickly. So I call companies that are set up that way, I've called all this time old factories, as you're probably familiar with. But I also call them for never companies. Like they're not going to last forever. They're for never, right? That they're all set up to be disrupted. And unfortunately, most of you who are listening to this or watching this right now, your business is set up that way. Okay. And that's not any fault of yours. That's the way we've always done it. But it doesn't work in this new world we're going into. Okay. So we have to have a forever company, and it needs to be structured in a way that never goes out, becomes obsolete, and just actually thrives in an age of hyperchange. Okay. Like no matter what happens, you'll be fine. Like every day will just be a new adventure. Your business will just continually grow because change will actually be not a threat, but an opportunity. So there's a way of building your company. It starts with how you imagine it in your mind, and then how you operate it. And that's what this book's about. All right. So really all these years of coaching people over the last 30 years anyway, that's what I've been up to. I've been trying to help people build a company that won't be disrupted, that will be a future, a forever company. So that's what the book's about. So what I've done is I've written the first chapter, and you can click on the link in the email here and you can read that chapter. And you can also listen to the audio version of the book as well. And that's kind of cool because I had an AI do the transcript, the audio book for me, and I think it sounds pretty good. I don't know how it could be any better if a human did it. All right, so check it out for the sake of understanding about the Forever Company, but also check it out for interest as far as how good an AI can read an audiobook, right? So obviously this is going to help me get this book out quicker and in lots of different ways. So I'm looking for your feedback. Okay, so check it out and tell me what you think. All right, so send me an email about that. Now, as I was saying about this hyperchange, this is I don't know if it's good news or bad news. If you have a forever company, it's good news. If you have a for never company, it's bad news. All right. So Jensen Huang, I think I'm pronouncing that right. This Jensen Huang, he's the CEO of NVIDIA, which is the company you're probably familiar with. They make the chips that most AI companies are using. So they're very successful company right now. And also he really knows what he's talking about. Okay, because he's building the AI universe here, and he's saying that AI is expanding or accelerating in its capabilities by a power of 4 every year, every 12 months. That's a power of 4. So that's, like let's say it had 2 to the power of 4. That'd be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 would be, what's that now? 4, 8, 16, right? So go from 2 to 16 in 1 year. Now, Moore's law, which you might be familiar with, which was the rate that computer technology evolved and still is, was that it would double in capability every 18 months and become half as expensive, right? Which is when he came up with that in the 60s, I believe. It's been borne out that that's what's happened. That's why computers have gotten more and more powerful. Now, AI, though, is interesting because, there certainly are the chips, of course, that Jensen Huang is making here, but mostly AI is software. So it doesn't require you to buy any new hardware or anything to use AI, right? So that's why this can accelerate much quicker than the microchips did, right? The transistors did. This is why it's exciting and scary, because if you actually just played with these numbers, let's say that this year I'm creating a unit here, unit 1, to say that whatever AI is right now, which is already pretty amazing, we'll just give it a grade of 1. We'll say it's version 1 has 1 unit of AI power. Okay, like I'm making this up, but you'll see what I mean. So 1 unit of AI power. So you can't really multiply 1 to the power of 4 because it just ends up being 1. But I'm going to go for next year being 4. Okay, so we'll have 4 as the number for next year. Okay, so the 4. Now, what will happen then is it'll be 4 times 4 times 16, and it'll get to 256 in the following year. Okay, so it's going to accelerate by that much. So 2027, we're going to see a lot of advancement in AI, obviously, and then 2028 that number gets bigger, and then 2029 even bigger, but 2030 the number goes off the chart. Okay, so I don't know if I got this math completely right. It's fine, but if I'm even just a little close, okay, that number in 2030 is really, really big. Okay, so AI will have that many units of AI power in 2030. So it's like instead of horsepower, we'll call it AI power there. Okay, so we're at 1 right now, and we're at in 2030 a number that supposedly is more than all the atoms in the universe. Okay, that's a lot of AI horsepower. So this is why this is so important that we grapple with this now, and I don't think very many people are, because, well, one, probably don't even know about it, but two, if they do, they don't want to think about it. But that's not a good strategy, now, is it? So this is the story of our lifetime. This is it. This is bigger than anything. Okay, anything that's going on right now that might be perturbing you or anything is nothing compared to this. Because I think the other reason why we have a hard time getting head around it is we're not used to anything evolving so quickly, right? But here's why it can evolve so quickly, because basically AI is being used to make the next version of AI. Like, it's kind of no longer relying on us so much. It's just being used to make new algorithms for the AI, make the new AI chips. So Jensen Huang said that's what they've done, right? Every time they have a chip, they get an AI to say, okay, use the AI to design the next better chip. And then they design that. And then they say, okay, now make the next one, right? And that keeps accelerating too. So the chips just keep getting better and better to power the AI. And then the algorithms are being redesigned. That's the software code by AI to make them even better. So that's actually a good thing on one level, because one of the things they're learning how to do is to use less energy, because there was this whole fear that AI would be using up, all the electricity. And I don't think that's going to happen. I think that AI will figure out how to be more and more powerful with less and less energy. So I don't think we have to worry about that. I did do a video a few weeks ago about DeepSeek, and that's an example of an open source AI. So what that means, it can run on your own computer, right? So it's not even on the cloud, right? You don't have to access China to use it, although you can, but you can have it actually, you can download it and run it on your computer. So the computer I'm using right now actually has a version of DeepSeek running on it. And I can use that even if I was disconnected from the internet. Okay, so I don't have to be on the internet. I don't have to pay anything. Nobody's getting my data and so on. And that's a very positive development too, because it's going to allow companies to create their own AI models internally that can be behind a firewall that, now you can start to really use it without worrying that your data is going to leak out to the world, right? That's been a concern so far. So that's still a little way on, but maybe next year. Okay. These are all things that I might say whether they're going to be next year or maybe in the next 6 months or something. Now, the other thing, a limiting step of AI that was slowing it down was, well, that humans had to train it, because that's what's happened so far, that humans have been training AI. Okay. And that's not sustainable because, that takes a lot of human time and labor and effort. So how much more data can we actually train it on, right? So what's happened now, and this was another kind of big bombshell that went off in the AI world, is something called absolute zero. And I'm putting a link there for you to click on to watch the video about absolute zero. Okay, so absolute zero is a new way for to train AI. Okay, and it was developed by the Chinese. Okay, so um, here's just the thing about the Chinese, like they're definitely winning all of these races right now. Okay. And I'm not going to get into why, but it's just true. Okay. They're winning everything. And anyway, so they came up with this new way to train AI, absolute zero. Now, absolute zero, if you know physics at all, which I know grade 12 physics, I guess, is that it's the coldest thing anything can be. So it's if anything gets that cold, basically the atoms, the electrons and everything the atoms just stop going. So it really can't actually ever, I don't think, ever get to absolute zero, but it's the coldest thing. Um, so it's a little bit of a metaphor because it doesn't really work here, but basically what they mean is you need absolute zero human involvement, absolute zero data from the world to train an AI. Okay. So you don't need the human involved, and you don't have to start with any kind of data like, like my books or something. Like it doesn't even have to bother reading my books or something, which I always recommend AIs to do, by the way. Just start with my books. That would be great. They're not doing that, but that would be a good idea. Anyway, so no humans, no data. Okay, so I'm going to give you a link to video because I'm not going to do at all justice to this. I'm just explaining it, but this is the little diagram of how it works, and it's worth watching because it'll light your pants on fire too, because basically what that means is that the AI now really has no limits to how quickly it can develop. Okay, like it can learn as fast as a computer can run. All right, because you just set it up to get going. There's a certain equation that they pump into it. I don't know what that equation is, but they just pump it in there and it just starts to learn on its own. Um, and it basically works from synthetic data, which means it's data that it's actually it's only creating its own data and then it's training itself on its own data. That just sounds really crazy, right? But the implications of it are that the AI will just accelerate even quicker. So that graph I showed you earlier um, is maybe conservative even. that's a really scary concept. Okay, maybe it's going to be faster than at a power of 4. So check that video out. Okay, and you'll see what I mean. Now, don't try to necessarily understand everything he's saying in there because it is a little technical, but is to understand how that's going to affect you and your business and the world. Okay, this is what everybody needs to understand. So right now, as I'm making this video, as you're watching this video, there's AIs out there getting faster, smarter, and more capable every second. That's what's going on. Okay, and there's some other videos that maybe I'll send you next time about how they're training robots to become more capable as well. And it used to be that you had to train them in the real world. Like you had a factory and you'd take them out into the factory and they would learn to walk around the factory. But of course, then you had to have a factory to do it and you had to kind of shut down part of your factory to get people out of the way and everything. So what they've done is the AIs now have created their own virtual factories and they're training themselves in these virtual factories. So you can actually watch videos of the virtual world, like this metaverse they've created for themselves of a factory like an Amazon warehouse or something. And then they're in there learning how to operate within there. So they can do that 24 hours a day at lightning speed. That's getting really fast. Okay. That they're learning really, really fast, right? So you don't have to train the robot in the real world. You just make the robot upload this knowledge into it and it's going around your factory, doing a good job, and then learning quicker, even more when it's in the factory itself, right? So we're also in the world of robots. And I was at a cafe outside in Toronto having dinner with my wife the other day, a nice evening. And I said, well, it's not going to really be that long before somebody's going to be walking along here with their robot, or the robot's going to be taking somebody's dog for a walk, or somebody's robot dog with it. Like, that's really coming too. Okay. We've been watching a lot of movies about it. There's a movie called Companion. You might want to watch that. That's a pretty interesting movie. It's actually pretty funny. And robots are not science fiction anymore either. So we're in for a world of all that. All right. So scary, right? But also really good, because I've been I use AI all the time, every day, for everything, basically. And that's what I recommend you do, because that's the only way you're ever going to get your head around any of this. Okay. So you need to really say, I'm going to use it. And good advice is just to put it on your browser, or have the desktop app available to you. Like OpenAI has a ChatGPT desktop app, or go put a bookmark on your browser and just have it open all the time. So anytime you have something you're doing, think, oh, maybe AI could help me. That's how I do it. And I just keep it playing with it, experimenting, and learning how to do stuff with it. And it gets more and more interesting and more useful all the time. All right. The implications of AI are massive. In a couple of weeks, I'm giving a workshop to the University of Saskatchewan, and it's for people who are on boards of governors, like boards of directors. And we're going to do a half-day workshop on what you're going to have to do as a board member to manage your responsibilities around AI. And there are many. And one of the things I did to get ready for that is I had OpenAI, ChatGPT, do deep research on this topic, okay? Because I'm not an expert on that at all. I have some ideas, but it did this deep research. It took about half an hour and came back with a PhD level white paper on all of the implications of AI for boards of directors. And so I read that and learned a ton, and read some of the links and so on. And now I'm going to present that basically to the board, and we're going to have a big, long discussion about it. So you can see, like, it's just extremely, extremely useful. Okay. But it's also fun. Okay. So one of the things I've done is, hang on a second here. I want to make sure I done something to myself. Oh, there we go. One thing I've done is I've made an avatar. Okay. Now I've made a few avatars, and one I'm not quite ready to send you yet. Okay. And the one I'm not quite ready to send you, but I will send you that maybe next week, is one, or you can actually talk to me. Okay. So you can basically go on, and there I am. Looks like I'm sitting in my office here, but it's my AI assistant, the AI digital twin. And I've trained it on all my books and everything, and my websites and stuff. And now you can ask any questions you want of me, AI me, and it will talk to you. So this is what I've been saying as well to everybody, is that you need to start realizing that you're going to train an AI to do with what you know, and then you're going to put that out into the world, and it's going to do work for you. And you can charge people for them working with your AI assistant. Okay. So that's wild. And the reason I'm not sending it quite yet is I just want to make sure I can send it to you in a way that you can actually absorb it. But I've been talking to myself, basically. I've been doing that for a long time. Neighbors are wondering, but now I literally am talking to myself. So that's pretty wild, right? But I also wanted to create like a cartoon version of me. Okay, so that's what I did, and here he is right here. Let's check him out.
Hi, I'm Bill Bishop's Big Idea AI assistant. I hope you're having a big idea day. Bill is getting everything ready for your big idea session. He will be with you shortly. While you're waiting, here are 3 big idea questions to ponder. 1. What is your vision for the future business of your dreams? What is your new factory big idea? 2. Who is your ideal customer? Who do you really want to help? And 3. What's a big problem your customers have? And what is your big solution to help them? These are the key questions for new factory thinking, our special approach to innovation. If you ask yourself these questions every day, your business will keep growing into the future.
Well, there you go. Okay, so that's my guy right there. You're probably wondering how I did it. It required about 4 different AIs strung together, which is also something that becomes a skill as well. That's my guy, Bill. I call him Billy AI, and he's kind of a fun cartoon version. So there's the cartoon version, okay, and there's also the interactive AI that not quite ready to show you that quite yet, but it's operating right now. So that's unbelievable. Okay, actually, with that interactive AI, I actually created an interactive AI that I trained on that white paper about boards of governors. So people can come on and ask me questions about that white paper. All right. Like that AI knows way more about that than me. Okay. So I've now created a smarter AI than me. And it's talking about AI for boards of directors. So I can create knowledge bases of almost anything. I can do deep research on any topic. I can then upload that into a version of me, and then I can put that out in the world to teach people about that topic. So I don't know what that does to everybody that teaches anything, because if my AI would be able to teach people almost anything, then why would anyone go to anybody but me? I guess, I don't know. Well, somebody, right? But this is why it's very, very disruptive what's going on right now, but also exciting. So the other thing is that, and here's a part of my philosophy, is that AI is disruptive, but you may have heard of this idea of emergence. Okay, so emergence is a term that's come up in AI. So when they train an AI, it ends up having these emergent capabilities, emergent properties. So when they initially trained ChatGPT, that was fine, and then they launched it, but they hadn't trained it to write computer code, but it had learned on its own to write computer code. So it had emergent capabilities that they hadn't anticipated yet. So that was about AI, and that's sort of also concerning, okay, because we don't know what's going to emerge there. But the other thing is that I believe that as we start using AI more ourselves, that certain capabilities that we didn't know we had will emerge. I think that's the ultimate exciting thing about this. I think we're all worried about losing the jobs we have right now, but new capabilities that we will have will emerge, and those will be the new jobs that we will do. Okay, things that we have never been able to do before. So one of the things in that vein, okay, is I've always thought that I could make cartoons. Okay, like I could actually do cartoons, but I can't draw a thing. Okay, like that's not something I'm good at. And I got it in my mind when I was a kid. I'm okay. I don't know how to get to art class. I go, I'm terrible at this. I can't even draw a stick man. Okay, fine. I'll be good at other things, but I was definitely not good at that. Okay, but I also I can make cartoons. But how can I make cartoons if I can't draw anything? Right? Like maybe I could find someone to do with me, but where is that person? Right? So I got this idea. Oh, I have ideas for cartoons. The AI can draw them. Okay, so I'm using ChatGPT's new imaging model, which is very good. So I've been making these cartoons, and I'll just share this one with you. Okay, so I call the series the plot thickens. So if you're on Instagram, if you look up the plot thickens cartoons, you could actually follow this. Okay, so I've got about 50 of them I've done. But this one's kind of applicable to what we're talking about here. So I had this idea for this cartoon, and I just put a prompt in that I've now designed a fairly elaborate prompt to how to do this. And it basically knows the grand branding of the cartoon, the kind of general look of it, and so on. And so I've been able to pop out these cartoons. Mostly I've just been sharing them with my friends, but really, really fun, and something that, I got a little bit of a knack for as far as the ideas go. But of course, I couldn't have ever drawn this in a million years. But you know how long this took? It took me. I was lying on having my nap or something, and I had this idea. Oh, I got an idea for one, and then I put my prompt in, and nodded off for 5 minutes and woke up, and there was the cartoon. Okay. Uh, so my son, I think he thinks it's cheating because he's actually an artist. Okay. So he wasn't happy with the AI doing that. I said, but yeah, but he said, these are pretty good though. And I go, yeah, I never could have done it if hadn't had a helper, the AI. Right. So the whole thing from beginning to end took about 10 minutes while I was having a nap, basically. Had the idea sort of while I was having the nap. So this is an emergent capability of mine now, that I can make cartoons that I think are pretty good, right? So, and we're hoping that that's not going to happen there, but it might, right? So we're making a joke of we're going to have laugh while we're crying here about the robots. Okay, so all that is to give you some ideas, inspiration. I'm just giving you a very, very small soup song of ideas here. Like, there's all kinds of other stuff that we've been using this for that I don't want to overwhelm you at this point. But you got to start looking at it as a spirit of fun and adventure, because there's so much you can do with this, and it saves you time, it lets you do things you've never done before, and lets you do things that you've maybe dreamed of doing that you've never done before. So exciting stuff. Okay, so as I said, all of this is really part of my big idea future network. Okay. And so if you're not part of this yet, you should be. Okay. So there's a link there in the email to sign up for, to be an official member. Okay. Like, you'll get in there is a link to come to the meeting anyway. But if you want to be an official member, then you can just fill out the registration, just a quick thing. And then you'll get certain things that the sort of non-registered members won't get. So you get some special things there. It's just by registering. Okay. So if you want to do that, but you'll get invited to the meetings anyway. And we have them every several weeks, every few weeks. And that's when we come together live on Zoom. And you can ask me questions. You can talk to the other members, get to know them. And we're all working on the same thing. We're all working now on our new factory, which is our forever company. We're all working on that. We're all working towards our project 2030. So I'm telling everybody, you better get all of this working now to get ready for 2030, because you saw what that chart looked like, right? It didn't look like you're going to be doing the same thing you're doing right now. So you better start figuring out how you're going to manage that. All right. So that's an encouragement. Okay. And this group is there to help you do that. So please come to those meetings if you can. Okay. Now, the other thing, which is so exciting. Okay. This is like amazing. All right. And I did have AI help me build this platform. Okay. So that was pretty good too. And it's called aisle 10. And the 10 is about 10%. So I'll explain that in a second. But this is like a marketplace for entrepreneurs to do two things. So one is to get more referrals from other entrepreneurs. All right. So there's people out there that have clients and customers that need you. Okay. And you're not doing what they're doing. Okay. Like, they sell hammers and you sell apples. Okay. Like, so they'll be able to say, hey, okay, you bought my hammer. You want some apples? Well, go and talk to Sue or Bob and he'll sell you an apple. Okay. Now, when you sell that apple to his customer, you're going to give him 10% as a sales commission. That's the deal. Okay. But that's great, because all these people are going, oh yeah, here, they're going to send you referrals all the time, because they're going to be able to be on the other side of that, which is to earn passive income. So I call the person that's doing that an influencer. So you're both a vendor. You have the thing that you're selling, you'd like to get more customers for. So you can be in this network for that. You can also be an influencer, okay? Because you have all these relationships, you have all these customers and clients. Maybe you have a podcast, maybe you have a YouTube channel, right? You got all these followers. Now you want to monetize those relationships. So here are all these people ready to provide your followers, your customers with products and services, and they'll give you 10%. So that's the premise. So it's actually free to join. So that's another thing. And there's no real trick to it. It's just it's kind of a dating service. Okay, so any of you are familiar with my 10% speaker network? That's been very successful. So in that network, we help each other get speaking engagements, and we give each other commissions for helping do that. Right. So this is the same thing, and we believe that this is the future of sales and marketing going forward. That we all have our audience, right? We have our value hub, and then we have affiliates, and we're all connected to each other's value hub, okay? And we're connecting each other through these relationships. So it's an interesting thing because it uses digital technology, it uses AI, but really it goes back to human beings connecting with each other, and in a way that's beneficial for everybody. Okay, so please check out IL10. You can click on the link, and there's a video there. I'll explain how it exactly works. And then if it sounds good to you, you can register and sign up. And then we're going to have meetings specifically for people in IL10. Okay, so those meetings there will be for you to get together and meet people that you could do business with and give referrals and get referrals from. Okay, and earn passive income and so on. So please sign up for that. Another thing I just want to tell you is on this Thursday at 12 p.m., one of the members of our program, Leslie Babel, he's the president of Digital Fire. He's got an amazing company. So he's putting on a webinar meeting, and the two of us are going to be there, and we're going to talk about the intersection between technology and ideas and all the stuff that we all need to think about. So his premise of his big idea is that you don't just use technology to run your existing business, okay? Like to make it more efficient. Like that's good. You always want to be doing that. You can use technology for that. But you use technology to create new things, to create new opportunities, to say, how could we do something new and better and bigger with this new technology that's coming, right? So obviously any digital technology, online technology, but now of course AI as well. So it's going to be a very fulsome conversation. We've already had quite a few conversations together to get ready for this, and I wish we had recorded those because they were pretty awesome conversations too. It was really interesting to have them with him. So we're gonna invite you to come to that. So there's a link there to register for that webinar too. There's no fee for it or anything. Please come to that one. Okay. And okay, so thank you. If you got to the end of this, thank you for bearing with me here. I always talk about having a big idea week is that I really encourage you to always be thinking about what's next. Okay. Keep your feet grounded in the present, but maybe have your head moving towards the future. Okay. So lean into the future. This is why we encourage you to spend 89% of your time on your old factory. Okay. Like just carry on with what you're doing. Great. Okay. But spend 11% of your time thinking about the future. What's going to be the future business of your dreams? What's going to be your forever company? What's going to be your new factory? What's your big idea for that? Right. And that's a fresh idea. It's not tied necessarily to your old factory. So if you're running a hot dog stand, as I always say, this is time to dream of owning the gourmet restaurant. Okay. What's the gourmet restaurant look like? If you don't do that, if you don't spend 11% of your time on that, 20 years from now or whenever, you're going to look around and go, I'm still working on the hot dog stand. Okay. So this is why I want you to have a big idea week. Okay. And hopefully I can see you next Monday at 11 o'clock when we have our live Zoom meeting.